Okay, so we looked at the madness of these things. All right, that's a little tool for you guys, right? It's something to think about. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This was this observation that if we do so all of that's sort of an aside, because when it comes to measuring, say, metabolism and mass is something we measure well. So we're going to be happy with that being a. So in fact, there's a pretty good argument for using ordinary least squares for that kind of thing. Mass, you put your thing on a scale, your weasel or your elephant or whatever, and you can measure that well. But measuring metabolism, that's a messy thing. And depending on the range over which we do our regression, then really does seem to conform to 2/3. And I'd sort of given this story that we started in the 1850s with humans making decisions about how to feed humans. It was not very good. The tobacco plantation in France with a 2/3 scaling for energy, rate of energy use, basal metabolism as a function of mass, so 2/3 power. There was the dog story in the 1880s from, And then we ended up starting to kind of creep up with some of these regressions. We could see what was going on, I suppose. It seems maybe larger mammals have a different thing going on. Maybe they're just harder to measure. But certainly for birds, it looks like 2/3. There's a lot of 2/3ness there. So what happened? What happened? I guess I've gone through that. It just became calcified in people's heads. Of course, we saw a vote. They voted. It's nuts. It's really strange. So I went through this. Okay. This is all good. Okay, good. And let's say here. Okay. So there was this last statement, I suppose, which is that the exponent 2/3 seems to work very well for animals, for mammals up to about 30 kilograms. That's a ton of mammals, obviously. Birds, certainly the full range that we have. Maybe there's a different scaling that's happening. This is not really sorted out, but we'll sort of dig into that a little bit. That's just, gravity starts to really play such a role that you really don't, your weasel isn't just a bigger mouse sort of thing by isometric scaling. It just really starts to be a little bit different, right? That's a mechanical problem. You got to hold yourself up. Okay. So there have been a lot of papers, especially since the 2000s, but there have been many, many papers for 50, 60 years around this, people arguing about whether it's 3/4, 2/3. This is a 2005 one. They sort of discard. They say the large herbivores are no good, which is weird. Then there's this one by Glazier. It's not universal, and they say there really isn't a scaling. It's like a big measure, I'm trying to say mess, I suppose. People keep coming back to that it's like a couple of scaling laws together. There's a paper just published on that. Beyond the 3/4 power law, right? So this was an old issue, intra versus interspecific. People really thought that intra, within species, would be a 2/3 scaling. Obviously don't vary much across, there's not a lot of size variation within a species, so it's hard to get any scaling at all. And then 3/4 across species, so this was sort of this beautiful story. So finite size scale. So this is just a disaster, right? Really is a disaster. I'll come back to some more papers in a little bit, but that was just one slide of people getting very confused.